Thank you, Praveen. And yeah, I just want to acknowledge that for also some of us, the breath can be hard. It can be something that causes difficult feelings to arise. One of you mentioned it brings up inner turmoil. So that's also very normal, very natural, that sometimes the breath may bring us calm and sometimes focusing on the breath may not. And so in this practice, we're going to experience bringing attention and mindfulness to the body and inviting the body to release and relax if it wants to. We can't force anything on the body. But that's another place to put our attention if the breath is not a helpful place, which can be the case sometimes. So I invite you to again come into an awareness of your body. And really feeling the places where your body is making contact with what you're sitting on. Or standing or lying on. So just sensing into the places of contact. And really get a sense also for the earth that's holding you underneath the floor, the ground. And as much as you can, see if you can let yourself rest on the earth. That right now, right in this moment, there's nothing you have to do. There's nowhere you need to go. You can just allow your body to be here, resting, releasing all of its weight onto the earth. The earth is really there for each of us. And we can allow ourselves to be held by the earth. With a sense of softening, of melting a little bit and spreading onto the support of the earth. If connecting to your breath is helpful, feel free to take some deep breaths. And with every exhale, letting your body release its weight even more onto the support of the earth. And bringing awareness to your face, feeling your forehead, and letting the forehead soften if it's helpful with the exhale. Letting the muscles of the forehead release. And if there's any place that we visit in the body that doesn't want to release tension or isn't ready, you just accept that and allow that to be the case. So no pushing or resisting as much as possible. It's just a gentle invitation to rest. And if tension stays there, we are mindful of the fact that, okay, there's still tension here, and we allow that to be. So bringing attention to the eyes, letting the eyes rest in their sockets. Releasing this need to focus on what's external, and just letting the eyes like rest on a pillow behind the eyes. Just resting back. And then bringing awareness to the jaw and letting the jaw release tightness, tension, allowing the tongue to rest on the floor of the mouth. Letting the face go soft. There's nothing we need to project or show to the outside world right now. We can let all of that go and just fully rest. Bringing awareness to the shoulders and letting the shoulders become heavier and just sort of float down the back. A sense of opening and releasing. And then feeling the arms and hands and letting them become heavier, releasing their weight even more onto your legs or wherever they're resting. Just this sense of as if you're coming home from a long trip with heavy bags. You can let the bags go finally. Just let your arms and hands just flop. And connecting with your chest and your belly and allowing an opening and a releasing there. There's nothing to protect or defend against right in this moment. So we can release, soften. And down the back, allowing the muscles of the back to let go and to rest. And then feeling the legs and the feet and inviting this sense of calm, of rest, of letting go down the legs, down the feet. Releasing, releasing, letting go. And just being aware of your whole body now, from head to toe, front to back, side to side. Just letting your whole body rest. Maybe like a dog or cat resting in the sun, completely flopped out, very at ease. No tension, no strain. Just enjoying that you have a body, that you're alive, and letting your whole body rest on the earth. Very good. So as you're ready, we'll bring our attention back to each other. And you can slowly open your eyes if you close them. Maybe take a breath or two to transition. And we again invite you to write a word or two in the chat, what you experienced doing that practice, both if it was, helpful, but also if it was difficult. Any feedback or input is welcome. Someone shared rooted. Only 10 minutes to go from relentless energy to feeling like a marshmallow. I loved feeling like a dog in the sunshine. Very soothing as always. I'm reading from what's written in the chat. The stillness brings ability to notice the held tensions in the body. Felt a deeper level of stillness. Helpful and calming, but my mind did wander on and off. Yes, very, very normal. It was relaxing, but also a little bit difficult to relax fully. Feel rested. Yeah, thank you for noticing. Connected with my inner self. Your voice and presence are very calming, as was the exercise. Warm and fuzzy. My puppy did come and lay next to me. That's nice. Soothing. Shoulders and back tension releasing. Grounding. Wonderful. It's great to hear your experience. So we're going to continue on, and I will hand it over to Praveen, and maybe just say, Praveen, that we might figure out how to shorten this part a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so thanks, Kaira. That was great. Kaira, by the way, does an amazing, there's a few recordings that you can find online where she does a relaxation lying down. And I've used that for many years to rest in the afternoons. If I can't sleep sometimes, so just be on the lookout for those recordings. So we're gonna now go into another area that we can place our mindfulness, and that is our feelings and emotions. In fact, these times really call for increased care to be given to our feelings and emotions. So when we talk about feelings and emotions, it can be quite overwhelming to know where to begin. So I invite you to, just raise your arm up and take the other hand and just gently rub your forearm across with the fingers. So that is what you would call a pleasant feeling. Now go ahead and pinch yourself. That probably feels unpleasant. Now notice when you're doing nothing, you can go ahead and put your hand down. Just notice how your arm is feeling. It's probably feeling neutral at this point. So when you're starting to practice mindfulness of feelings and emotions, it's helpful to start at a very rudimentary level and start with, am I feeling pleasant? Am I feeling unpleasant? Or am I feeling neutral? When you start with that, you can always then go into the feeling in more depth. But I find this practice very helpful when there's just a lot going on, to just come back to this and ask myself, okay, let's just stop for a second and notice, at a very basic level, how am I feeling right now? Pleasant or unpleasant? Is it unpleasant in the body or in the mind? And is it pleasant in the body or in the mind? Those questions just quickly help me drop right into my body and feelings. Similarly, when you practice in this way, without mindfulness, you have a stimulus. Something happens out there and you immediately react. But with mindfulness practice, what you allow is to yourself to basically feel the stimulus, notice how it is in your body, sensations in your body, and then you can choose to respond to it from maybe a space of more calm and ease and wisdom. So Kaira is going to go into more depth into how to be more mindful with our emotions.
Thank you, Praveen. So it's very important in these times of great challenge that we're all facing to be able to recognize what's arising in our minds, as Praveen was mentioning, these different kinds of feelings, and also to be aware of how we're relating to our emotions. So there are generally two ways that most of us fall into habitually in regards to our emotions. One way is that an emotion arises, like fear or anger or sadness, and we completely identify with that emotion and it takes us over. Like the horse story I told at the beginning. It just carries us where it wants to go, and we are in the grips of that emotion. But the other extreme that we easily fall into is we don't want to experience an unpleasant emotion, and so we suppress it. So we do anything we can to distract ourselves and find something to consume, or we do something to get away from that feeling. And neither of these strategies really work in the end. They don't help us to understand and become free of that experience and transform it into something resourceful. And neither of them brings us much happiness or wisdom or peace. But there's another way of approaching our emotions, and it is the foundation of being able to relate skillfully with our emotions is all the practices we've been talking about up until now. Being with our breath, being present in our body. So the third middle way that doesn't fall into the extremes of becoming completely identified with the emotion or suppressing it is to be present and be mindful of our emotion, to be present with it, to take good care of it, to turn towards it rather than turn away from it. So I'll just tell a story about this. I was once on a trip and found myself waking up at like 4 a.m. and thinking about all these different things that needed to be done, that needed to be resolved, and getting very tense as I was, there in bed and had a full day ahead of me that I also was thinking about trying to prepare for. And for about 15 minutes, I found myself kind of in the grips of all of these thoughts and this subtle emotion that I hadn't recognized yet. And about 15 minutes into that, I was like, oh, this is worry. I'm worrying. And as soon as I recognized worry, I was no longer identified with worry. As soon as I recognized it, some other energy came up besides worry, which was mindfulness, right? So it's like worry was here, and when there was no mindfulness, it was taking up all of the space. It had all of my attention. I was totally identified with it. But when mindfulness came up and said, oh, that's worry, so it was something else, recognizing it, and it was starting to, notice, I'm getting tense in my body because of all of these thoughts. Oh, I'm thinking about all these things in the future that I can't control anyway. So it was starting to, and then as I just breathed and noticed, breathing in, I feel worry. Breathing out, It's okay to feel worry. And I just accepted it. I didn't try to push it down and suppress it. I didn't let it keep, taking all of my attention. I was just there with it, holding it, embracing it. My body started to relax. All the worrying thoughts began to sort of calm down, and it really wasn't necessary for me to resolve all of those problems right then at 4 in the morning. So I realized, I can just be here with my worry. And as I was there with it, it just calmed, and my body relaxed, and I felt much better than I had for those 15 minutes. So first, we want to recognize what's arising in our mind. If we don't recognize it, that's when it can take us over, or that's when we get into our habitual reactivity and try to suppress it. But if we notice, this is what's going on, then we want to turn towards it. We want to be willing to feel it. All right, we have a deeply ingrained habit to try to avoid feeling pain. But with mindfulness, we have something that is able to be there with the pain, with the difficult feeling. So it's not just that very strong, uncomfortable emotion. There's mindfulness, which has the energy of care, which has the energy of interest, of curiosity, of friendliness. Oh, this is suffering. Oh, that must be painful. Yes, I'm here for you. Let me take care of you. Let me be with you. Let me breathe with you. So mindfulness has the capacity to soothe, to understand, to bring comfort to our painful emotions. And that's really what they want more than anything. They don't want to be pushed away. They don't want to be denied. They start to relax as soon as we stop resisting them. And then they begin to reveal something to us about what's really going on underneath. So if we can turn towards our suffering rather than run away from it, we have many more opportunities to be relieved, really at the root of our experience, and to deeply understand our mind and how our minds work. So I think maybe I'll just try to walk through a practice, but not lead a practice because of our amount of time that we have. So